first speaker is a very new Toastmaster, and we have already known her from her current discussion with Jenny ma'am. When I asked her about mentorship and who is your mentor in life, she told it's my mom. It's my dad. He has taught me empathy, he has taught me discipline, and he has taught me how to deal with all the life difficulties in future. She is an author, she is an eminent personality in YouTube as well. She's a life coach and an author. So with your round of applause, please welcome our first speaker of the day, Toastmaster Kanika, with speech title, The Mom in Me. The Mom in Me, Toastmaster Kanika.
Good morning, Toastmasters.
Good morning.
The mom in me. Of the many different roles that I have played in my life, one of my favorite ones is that of a mother. I became a mother way back in 1996 when I had my son, Rishabh. Until his birth, I was a very ambitious woman and I had big plans for myself. At that stage, I had no clue what motherhood was all about. And in my mind, I had everything planned out. I would leave my baby at a creche and continue to work. But when the baby arrived, everything changed. As I held my little baby in my arms, I felt he was so little, so tender, so helpless. He needed me. And as days passed, I realized I was extremely restless every time I left my baby at home and went out. So at that stage, I felt as my maternity leave was coming to an end that I could not continue to work with such a disturbed state of mind. And so I decided to become a full-time mother. Changing roles from a career woman to a housewife was not easy. And I wanted to work. So I began to pressurize my child. I wanted him to grow up fast so that I could resume my job. But then things don't work that way. And I realized it the hard way by causing a lot of stress, not only for myself, but also for my baby. But I did not give up. With the hope of working one day when he starts schooling, I took admission for MBA through distance learning. As I successfully completed the first stage of my MBA, my daughter, my angel, she arrived into this world. Her name is Ishika. And when my daughter came, the thought of working seemed like a remote possibility. But by then, I had reconciled to being a housewife. So it was easy for me and I was very easy on her. Shortly after her birth, we moved to Dubai because of my husband's posting. In Dubai, I dedicated all my time to my children. I watched their milestones as they grew. I took care of their studies, I focused on their studies, and they excelled in their academics without any extra tuitions. I laughed with them, I cried with them, I played with them. I watched all their cartoon serials and continued to watch them as they grew. As a family, we went on exotic vacations all around the world. We had lavish birthday parties and we had fun picnics. And I was with them, and I still am, through their love affairs and their breakups. In fact, when my son was new to Tinder and he was setting up his account, I was writing blogs and articles about Tinder. And would you believe it? I'm the one who gave him tips on how to set up his account. And we had some great moments together. I still remember the time when they would return home from school, fighting with each other as to who would tell me first how their exam went. And of course, the time when I repaired a broken toy of my children, and they had this discussion where Rishabh said, "Mama was a carpenter before we were born." And Ishika said, no, she was a plumber. So can you believe that? So they knew I was a professional and I had given up my job, but they didn't know, they were too small to know what an engineer was. So they were familiar with carpenters and plumbers, so they assumed that, okay, she must have been one of them. So time flies, and today they are working in some of the top organizations in their field. One of the best compliments that I've received as a mother is when a colleague of my son told him, I want to know how you have been raised so that I can bring up my son the same way. And this reminded me of a video of Sadhguru where he says, bringing up a child is a 20-year project if done right. Otherwise, it's a lifelong project. Well, it is a coincidence that I resumed my career exactly 20 years in 2016 after the birth of my son. And I believe I must have got something right when I look at my children today as they grow up to be strong, independent individuals who make their own decisions. Thank you.